Forza Horizon 4 scheduled to be announced and released at some point in 2018, I feel now is as good a time as ever to start discussing the prospective game itself. So, a brief summary of Forza Horizon 3. Now, that game, FH3, for me personally, from a technical standpoint, the game was spot on. The handling model and the all-round physics, in my opinion at least, was the best of the bunch when compared to Need for Speed 2015 and The Crew, which were its chief rivals at the time of launch. As always, it wasn't perfect and it came with its own quirks, but the cars had weight. They didn't feel as floaty and as cartoonish as the physics model did in The Crew 1 before it got rejuvenated, and you had the ability to do what most would consider as a more realistic style of drifting in comparison to the brake to drift mechanic found in Need for Speed 2015. Visually, the game looks stunning as well. As we know, it was shot in beautiful Australia, down under. That was a terrible Australian accent, but there was all sorts of things like the different road types, the different surfaces, the sand, the dust, the foliage, even as much as them rendering a real-life version of the sky in 12K resolution and then stitching it into the game itself. When you talk about the car list, Forza Horizon 3 had more cars at launch than both The Crew and Need for Speed 2015 had combined, total being 350. Plenty of cars to choose from: classic, modern, muscle, sedan, coupes or coupes, hatchbacks, sports cars, hypercars, JDM. There's something for everyone. Customization wasn't brilliant, but was definitely a step up from the last game in the fact that we had Liberty Walk and Rocket Bunny coming on board to give your cars a little bit more spice, a little more character and a little more personality. So if I was to present all of those elements to you as a spec sheet and you looked at that and then compared it to the two games that I mentioned earlier on, The Crew and Need for Speed 2015, you could be forgiven for thinking that this game would blow both of those two out of the water. However, for me, as I've said before, as I said previously in another video, the issue I had with Forza Horizon 3 is that the single player mode was incredibly boring, painfully dry and woefully repetitive. By and large, your task was as follows: win race, gain imaginary fans, upgrade festival, unlock new races, and then win more races, gain more imaginary fans, upgrade more festivals and unlock new races. And that was it. A hollow experience which made me feel like I was carrying out a checklist rather than playing a game. It's like when you play one of those open world action games and you've gone through the main mission and you've got to go back and do all the little side missions just to, you know, get your rank up and all those sorts of things, and just do it for the purpose of maybe unlocking trophies. And Forza Horizon 3 single player campaign mode just felt like a whole load of side missions. The problem started with the way in which the game was marketed. There was a huge emphasis on unique selling points that either felt hollow, felt pointless, or just failed to maximize their full potential. One of them being the whole fan system, which I've just mentioned, amounted to very little. In line with modern day social media, the way in which your success is deemed through Forza Horizon 3 is by way of gaining fans. The more fans you gain, the more you can upgrade your festivals. The problem is your festivals are capped at a certain level, so once you hit that maximum level cap, what good is the fan base system after that? It becomes pointless. They also focused on marketing the showcase events. That was another thing that they pushed to the front of the advertising for the game. Now, the showcase events are absolutely fantastic. They are brilliant. I love them. I think they're so good. I think they're very well presented. I think they're so creative. The problem is that you can tell by the way in which they've been designed, it would have taken a long time for them to get the concept, shoot the camera angles, and basically put those events together. The issue is that once you've done it once, there's no real reason to go back and do it again. I mentioned at the start of the video that Forza Horizon 3 launched with over 300 cars, 350 to be exact. I don't like being given all those cars at the same time. I don't like that at all, because what it does is it lowers the prestige, it lowers the aura of certain cars which in real life have exactly that, prestige and aura. I'll give you an example. Unless you live in Dubai, you are not going to see 10, 15, 20 Gallardos, Aventadors or Superleggeras on one road. You're not. The reason why you see so many people stopping, turning their heads and admiring cars like that is because they are rare. Not many people have them. Not many people can afford them. And most importantly, not many of them are even made in comparison to things like your Ford Focus. And the same applies to classic cars that are no longer in production. So essentially what you've got is 3 unique selling points, which unfortunately amounted to either nothing whatsoever in terms of being hollow and useless, weren't really what you would have expected and only scratched the surface in terms of what they could have done, or had no replay value at all. So in Forza Horizon 4, how do I propose we fix this? What I think they need to do this time round, play Gran games, if you're listening to me, what I think you really need to do is focus heavily on the multiplayer aspect to bring these 3 unique selling points of fans, trophy events, and iconic cars to life, to give them purpose, to give them value, to give them meaning. Forza as a brand have already got the mechanism in place to make this work. You've got mini games such as Infected, which one player starts out as the infected and must spread the infection to other players by crashing into them. You've also got another mode called King, which is the same concept but swapped, with all players trying to track down and crash into the set King player. You've also got Flag Rush, whereby everybody is running around frantically trying to gather these flags, which have different points accreditations to them, and get them back to their base as quick as possible to accumulate the highest score. I want them to take those 3 mini games and add another 4 or 5 so that we've got a nice selection pool, something for everybody. Things that are focused around drifting, things that are focused around hill climbing, things that are focused around car soccer, car football, whatever you want to call it. Maybe even like a mini game which is a throwback towards things like Burnout and Destruction Derby, where it's, here's your car, there's 10 of you in an arena, there's a timer of 2 minutes, and all you've got to do is just drive and smash into each other, and whoever managed to accumulate the most damage, or whoever manages to damage their car the most in relation to parts falling off that turn into points, ends up winning the competition. I want a whole load of mini games. This is my proposal. Now, before I go into this, I must put the disclaimer out. This is not going to be for everybody. There is going to be a portion of you that agree with this. There's going to be a portion of you who absolutely do not like it at all. But here's what I suggest. I want them to hold some cars back. If the final number of cars is 400, and it hasn't been confirmed, I'm just plucking that number out of the sky. If the final number of cars is 400, I want them to hold at least 18 of those back. 18. And you're going to know why I've picked 18 for a reason. I want those 18 cars to be handpicked and have a lot of thought placed into their selection criteria. What makes these cars special? What is it that endears these cars to the hearts and minds and souls of motoring enthusiasts? What makes these cars iconic? Hold them back and release them on a monthly basis. So, how exactly are these cars going to be released? As DLC? As part of monthly patches? No, what I propose is that these cars are labelled as prestige icon cars that can only be unlocked upon participating and winning a monthly showcase event. So, the same type of showcase events that we spoke about earlier on, racing cars attached to helicopters, racing a whole load of boats and things like that, the exact same concept but expanded further, and rather than having 5 or 6, having 18, one every monthly basis. So, you complete a showcase, you unlock one of those 18 iconic cars. However, it's not that straightforward, because to be able to even participate in a showcase event, you need to earn the right, which now gives you a reason to go out and grind for that showcase event. So how do you qualify for a showcase event for the opportunity to win one of those iconic cars? By way of gaining fans in the multiplayer aspect of the game. You go online and you have the opportunity to gain fans by way of participating in different types of races. So the traditional point-to-point races, circuit races, class-based races, etc. But what you also do is you take part in mini games. Now, on completion of winning races or the position that you finish in certain races, you will acquire a certain amount of fans. So similar to the way the mechanism works already in the single player aspect, you will get X amount of fans for finishing first, X amount of fans for finishing second, etc. and rewarded all the way down to a certain position. In order for you to qualify for a showcase event within a 30-day period, so a month, you need to have reached the set target of fans, which will then enable you to qualify to participate in the showcase event. Right, so this is all starting to sound a little bit confusing, and that's why what we're going to do now is use the aid of diagrams to further illustrate my point. So there are 18 iconic cars locked behind the scenes of the game. In order for you to have the opportunity to unlock one of those 18 cars of choice, you can only do so by participating and winning in one of the monthly showcase events. But in order for you to gain entry to the showcase event in the first place, you'll have to have achieved the minimum set target of fans for that specific event to gain entry to it. How do you accumulate the fans? By quite simply taking part in the online mini games that will be spread across that 30-day period, including online races, online drift battles, etc. Within those races, you will be awarded a set amount of fans for finishing first, a set amount of fans for finishing second, third, fourth, fifth, right the way down to sixth. To ensure the frame rate within the game doesn't start to crash and start to fall to pieces, there will be a maximum of 12 of you competing within each competition. If you finish any lower than 6th, so we're talking from positions 7 to 12, you will actually start to lose fans. Basically, whenever you enter these trophy qualifiers, to make things more entertaining, to make things more interesting, to spice things up a little bit, and to add more emotion to what it is that you're doing, if you want to have a go at a trophy event, you got to put your fans on the line. Also, if you're a creator, if you're really good at making raps, making designs and things like that, you can also gain fans that way. So for example, you could make a rap, share it across the community, and the amount of likes and thumbs up that you get, those will also go towards your monthly fans. So you jump online, you enter the mini games, you enter the races, you gain the set required amount of fans, you qualify for the trophy event, you win the trophy event, you get awarded an iconic vehicle. Now, to keep things even more interesting, it will not be a set vehicle for everybody. So what I mean by that is, if you look at the way the crew has done this, because those of you who are eagle-eyed will realize I've taken quite a lot of influence from the crew on this. It will not be a case of saying, right, the car to win this month will be a Mazda MX-5, or the car to win this month will be a 69 Charger. No, it will be a random car that you will obtain by way of the already existing Horizon wheel spin system. Because by doing it this way, what you're ensuring is that people are more likely to enter the competition in the hope that they get what they want. Now, the reason why I've picked 18 as the number is because, as you know, Forza Horizon works on a 2-year cycle. Every 2 years a new game gets released. I think, and this is just my own personal opinion, so please feel free to disagree with it, but I kind of get the feeling that once you get to that 12-month, 18-month period, that's where the game starts to really fall away, because you've got other games that are on other release cycles, such as Need for Speed, such as The Crew, that are coming out in between, that kind of start to lower the desirability of the game in question. And at that point in time, the next game, which would be Forza Horizon 5, I'm guessing, would already be deep in its development. But the point is, you would have got 18 solid months out of the game. Not only that, but the 3 elements that I complained about not being pushed to their fullest potential now have value. The fan system now has value. The trophy events, spread out across a longer period of time, requiring the need for qualification just to participate in them, now have value. Rather than just saying, here's all 350 cars, locking some of them away and making you have to earn them, especially if they are those same iconic cars in real life. It means those iconic cars, just like their real life counterparts, now have value. When you're driving around in the open world, who knows, for a day or two you might be the only person with a 2000 Skyline GTR or a Mitsubishi Eclipse. It's when you add weight, when you add meaning, longevity and value to the core elements that you're marketing and promoting to the public, that all of a sudden you avoid disappointment. And that's all I've got to say about that. So as I said, guys, this is just a concept that I've put together in my head. You know me, I always come out with different ideas on how to improve things, how to take things to another level, how to get better value for money, longevity, etc. And this whole concept falls into that category. Share your thoughts in the comments below. As always, I'm very much interested. And if it's your first time around here, I wish you a born welcome. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Be sure to swing the damn hell out of the notification bell. More Forza Horizon 4 conceptual based ideas on the way. And I'll see you when the next video comes out. Take it easy. Peace.